Good morning, sports fans, and welcome to PM in the AM, starring Pat Bernard and Mike Laro. Your Sundays will never be the same again.
Good morning, Patrick. How are we doing?
Well. Good morning, everyone. What's going on, Mike? How are you, sir?
I'm good. Flyers got their people, so it sounds like, right, buddy?
Yeah, everyone's happy, but the Grinch of Northeast or the Grinch of Ambler. I'm not too thrilled with it. I'm not happy with the 76ers and the Philadelphia Flyers have done at the draft. But we'll touch on that in a little bit. Mike, we gotta get to these Phillies, man. I want to get into a conversation. I'm pretty sure Al heard it. You heard it. I've heard it. Everyone on this network has heard it. This team did not look good this week, dealing with some facing this lineup has faced some really good pitchers, some good starting pitchers like last night facing against Spencer Schonblock, who had 12 Ks under him. It was really good, dialing up fastballs, just painting the strike zone with some sinkers and sweepers. And this Phillies lineup just could not hit yesterday. I mean, Spencer Schonblock carved this Phillies lineup for 7 innings. For 7 innings, he calls this lineup pain, agony, and all that stuff. I mean, this cat was really good for the Braves. And we just seemed like for 4 out of 5 games this week, we just didn't have an answer. We did not have an answer facing some good pitching. So, Mike, I got to ask the question, with the trade deadline that's coming up here within a month, is it time to consider moving on from Alec Bohm for a bullpen arm or something? Because I've got the conversation. Matter of fact, a good friend of the show, Frank Figlowitz, a bona fide loser, shaved ass, whatever you want to call him, he's chimed in the show. He chimed into the show and told me, we should trade Alec Bohm, sell the team. It's time to move on. Yeah. Mike, I'm going to ask the question. Should this Phillies team consider trading Alec Bohm right now?
Yeah. Yes, they should.
And, so you're on boat with it?
Yes, because they have Otto Kemp. Otto Kemp can go play third base. He's a cheaper option, and they're pretty much producing around the same amount. I feel like that maybe they have a little more I think they would be better off, really, and you're going to get a decent arm for an Alec Bohm. It's clear. It has arisen.
Yeah,
didn't we do that?
Yeah, it did. Unless
maybe it did. When you're in your coffin,
maybe not.
When you're in your coffin, sometimes the internet lags a little bit there, so we don't know. As far as we know, we did play the damn show intro. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
If not, we'll play it at the end.
Yes. But again, Mike, I mean, you were saying about should this team consider moving on from Alec Bohm, maybe for a bullpen arm or so forth?
Yes. I think they should. I mean, and there's a lot of decent arms available. There really is. Going back through it, I saw that there was they could get a deal done to help them solidify this bullpen. Somebody, our good buddy Joey Sheeran, I believe it was Joey Sheeran, yesterday put up and said, there's two, a right-handed bat and a reliever that they could bring in, and it was Austin Hayes and Carlos Esteves. So I kind of laughed at it and chuckled, but those guys are having good years for the teams that they're on. But yeah, I would trade Alec Bohm in a heartbeat. You have his replacement right there in Otto Kemp.
Yeah, well, the only problem I have from moving on from Alec Bohm is that, to me, I find him being one of the most consistent bats outside of Turner. And I feel like if you move on from Alec Bohm, it's going to hurt you more than help you. Regardless that this team really needs an arm in the bullpen. That's without doubt. I mean, someone every night on a consistent night screws it up in the bullpen, no matter who you throw out there, whether it's Joe Ross whether it's Strom, whether it's Bang, it doesn't matter. Taiwan Walker, someone's bound to let the train go off the track. So I get that, but to me, anyone outside of Turner and Bohm, you can have whoever you can take Schwarber right now, and that might be pushing it. But to me, I outside of Alec Bohm, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I know, Ellie, you said Alec Bohm is the cheaper of all the options you paid for. You can move on from him, and I get, like you just said, Mike. The best way to go is probably putting Otto Kemp at third. When Bryce Harper gets healthy, come back in the lineup and play at first. But I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to move on from Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm's my guy.
Well, he's
your guy right now.
No, yeah, he's your guy right now. I mean, but Pat, you make it seem like he's been hitting all year. He hasn't. He just recently, over the last 6 weeks, have come on. I mean, he's been an automatic out for most of the year. Like, no, it's time.
Yeah, but that hasn't been the whole lineup, though. Hasn't that been the whole lineup being ice cold? Hasn't it been the whole lineup being ice cold? Cassie being ice cold. Bohm being. I mean, Schwarber has his up and down rough patches. Stott hasn't been, Stott lost his job, and he's a robot. He's a robot at the plate. Doesn't swing at the first pitch, great. Then after that, swings at everything in the dirt.
Yeah, I will give it to you with Stott. Stott's having he's kind of regressed in a big way. But no, like, I'm sorry. Like, for me, you're not going to be able to, like, if you put Bryson Stott into a deal and ship him off, you're probably not going to get as much back as you would if you would put Alec Bohm in. I'm sorry. I just feel like
real quick.
True.
It's not just getting rid of them, but it's what are you getting back? The Phillies are not going to trade Alec Bohm right now unless there is some sort of major value. You can't, like, he is hitting consistently well. Yes, I agree with Mike that it wasn't all year, but no guy tends to be. I mean, Nick Castellanos all last year struggled all the way up through the All-Star break for the most part. Maybe, and then he turned it on in the second half, and he was the most consistent hitter during those times. He kept the team above 500. Kyle Schwarber has done it for many years. He couldn't hit the baseball for worth of nothing before June, up until the last year or so. So, I mean, I'm not sitting there saying I'm a huge Bohm fan, and if they can get the right King's ransom, but also have, not even King's ransom, get the right pieces that they need, but also who are you putting in there? That's the question. That's what I always ask. Are you trading for a third baseman in this process? Are you going to run like with Otto Kemp out there and play third base? I mean, I know I think Sosa played a little bit out there too during when Bohm was not playing. But Sosa, or even like take for Stott, for instance, Sosa can't play every day. I mean, he's going to get exposed. Like, that's my thing. Like, people's love for Amundo Sosa. I think he's a great guy, great story, good player. But is he an everyday player? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, right now they got to take one of their younger guys, man. And you know what, too? Like, don't be surprised if you see a Marshall or Rojas included in that deal, because guess what? They're going to slide. They're sliding one of them two center fielders out because Crawford's coming up. Crawford will be up here probably after the All-Star break. So, I mean, the kid I think it's about time that they bring him up. And you're going to talk about getting hits in the lineup. This kid is a hitting machine, dude. He's singles and doubles hitter. You know what I mean? With an occasional pop. This is what you need in that lineup. And I think Crawford can fulfill that.
That's a question I was going to ask you guys. They brought in a lot of players. They brought up Otto Kemp, who I kind of thought they wouldn't, because I really think they wanted to keep the mystique of Otto Kemp up in case he came up here and he struggled. And to his credit, has not really struggled. I mean, has he been great? No, but he keeps improving. Every week seems like he's getting better and better. But my real question is, like, why not Crawford to this point? Like, I don't think Crawford's like in any which way could be traded, unless, again, King's ransom. Like, they just can't say no to this deal. Like, somebody just completely overpaid for Crawford. Why is he not up here? I mean, they've been struggling. I mean, what's his name? Johan Rojas. I'm kind of over him. I was a big fan of his for a while. I really like him. I still think he could be a good player, but I think between not being able to produce right now, maybe going to a lesser team or something where you'd have more play time and he can stretch himself out a little bit, maybe he could be better. He's just never gonna. I just don't think it's going to be here in Philly at this point, unless he just turned it on and could play consistently. But they want Crawford's the center fielder of the future, and he's not far away. So it's just, I think Johan Rojas is a guy that they may package into a deal. Is he going to bring a huge price tag with him? Probably not, but he could probably make something a little bit more enticing from that side. But why not Crawford? Why not yet? Why are we still not having him up here yet?
Well, to me, I think they're playing Marsh some more. If you notice, Marsh has been making some great contact. He's been aggressive, with base stealing and base running. I think right now Marsh gives you the bigger upside as a trade value if you could package him in Bohm. But then again, it goes back to my question. Then you might, are we selling here? I mean, is it if you move on from those two guys from the trade line, like what are we doing here? Because like I said, this team facing decent pitchers. You face Schwallenbach this last night. Thursday you face Wednesday you face Colton Gordon. Friday, the other night you face Hunter Brown. I mean, these guys that you face have winning records. A lot of the pitchers have decent records and decent pitchers. So it does bother my mind. Like, what's this team going to be like come postseason time if they can't hit, decent pitchers during the regular season? I'm afraid this team's going to poop the bed. It's going to be a one and done come postseason time.
Well, this is why you have to go out and make deals and make adjustments to your team. Not everything that's wrong with the Phillies is going to get fixed at the deadline, Pat. It's not going to happen.
True.
But they can go and do that. You have to bring up some of these younger. You can't. The problem with the Phillies have is they love to keep their minor leaguers down in the minor leagues forever. Like they always take way too long to bring them up. And I'm sorry. I'm glad they brought up Otto Kemp. I'm glad when they bring up Crawford. I'm going to love that. I love the fact they brought up Mick Abel. Okay. You also have Painter coming at the end of, you have Painter coming that's going to be up here after the All-Star break. So the Phillies are going to be adding people in there. They're younger. They're just as good. And I'm sorry, like Alec Bohm's worn out his welcome here. And I think with Brandon Marsh too, I'm glad that they're both playing well because with them playing well, their trade value goes up.
Yes.
So that's the way I'm looking at it. And the Phillies will be able to go out and get some bullpen pieces that they need. And probably get some minor league talent back, too, to help replenish because of what's going behind them. Now, to be honest with you, I would love for them to try to get a catcher because JT, as you see, he's
cooked. He's cooked.
Yeah, he's hit or miss.
So, you got to stop with the JT hate like that. I mean,
I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'll be the first one to tell you.
You're on the JT Island there, Al.
I'm going to die on JT Island happily. I'll tell you that much. No, but listen, here's my thing on JT. Like, I get it. He bat-wise, absolutely struggling. I'm not blind. I'm not a homer, as some certain individuals would call me. Go ahead, get it ready. Get it ready. JT, from his defense alone, and I don't want to hear he's not one of the better defensive catchers in baseball. The stats are there. It's BS. I don't want to hear it. Yes. I would definitely be okay with him moving as far down the lineup as humanly possible. But what he can do with these pitchers, I mean, look at the stats. Like I think it was Aaron Nola and Wheeler stats with and without JT. Are you willing to take those hits? Because I'm not. You better find somebody who can orchestrate a game like he can. And we know he has the ability. When he can get on base, he has the speed to make up for it. He's not a clunky old catcher whose knees are like, probably should have been replaced 10 times over already type guy. But he is getting on the older side, so they do need to prepare for the future. But I'm talking about this year. I want JT behind that plate. If it's the other guys who really should be picking up for that in this situation. It's hold on. Alec Bohm has been hitting more consistently. Who else? I guess who else?
Turner.
Turner's been the most consistent. I mean, I think since April 19th,
and you
300.
Yeah, and like I said, Turner, Bohm, Schwarber have been your most consistent hitters. Outside of that, it's the Philly Fanatic because this team has been struggling. But like Al, you brought up a good point. I mean, yes, JT hasn't been swinging the bat well, but his defense makes up for it. Same thing with Stott. He's like I just said, he's like a robot at the plate. He doesn't swing at the first pitch, but anything after that, anything in the dirt, Stott's swinging at. He should be removed. He should be in piggy land. But again, what does he bring? Good defense. He plays second base extremely well. You saw the one play he made last night, a couple plays he made at second base where the ball could have easily split the gap, but no, he makes a great play and throws it to first. So again, I get it, but there's got to be some kind of major splash with this team if they are series run. And I
Pat, I think we're losing you, buddy. Your face there is priceless right now on the screen. But I mean, I think we all just saw Pat's O face. And God forbid if I ever to see this again. You may want to adjust or something there, buddy.
Yeah.
But listen, there's a lot of questions to be had. Here, I'll join you, Mike, for a second until Pat gets up. Sorry. Jesus, we had to see that face again. I feel bad for his wife already. I mean, here, real quick, Nooms brings up a good point. I mean, you trade Bohm, you trade Marsh. We got old even faster than we already are old.
Right.
But if you're bringing up Crawford, then that kind of evens things out for at least for Bohm. And here's my thing with Marsh. Like, I'm okay if he's going to stay at left field. You know what I mean at this point, but his inconsistency with hitters is a problem that's going to be, something that I don't think we're going to be able to look past. He might be a good bench hitter, a bench piece, or maybe a trade piece. I'm okay with that. I know when I said trading Marsh, people are like, what are you, nuts? And I know. I'm like, listen, is there going to be a huge market for him? Probably not, but he might entice a bigger contracts, or a bigger trade swing. But you're not. I agree with you, Mike. You're not going to fix all the problems at the trade deadline. What you really can fix is getting bullpen pieces in here. All this talk about center fielders. I mean, can we just bring Crawford up now? Like, why wait any longer? If he can get hot and stay hot, then we can make the right decisions here. We don't have to worry about trading for a center fielder as much.
Right, exactly. Because to me, I'm looking at this with this whole Crawford thing. I think it's got to do with service time as well. But I'm with you, Al. I feel like he should have been brought up. But I like this look that the Phillies have done, because as like we've been lifelong Philly fans, we know that they take forever to bring up talent. But now they're doing it. They're bringing them up, and keep your eye on Max Kepler too. I would not be surprised if they turn around and trade Bohm and Kepler. Because he had his little run-in with Robbie and saying whatever. He's only here on a 1-year deal. So,
Listen, that's a little ballsy on his behalf when you're not playing. I mean, Max Kepler, a funny thing is there's a stat I saw out there, and I want to research a little bit more, but the stat was that Max Kepler had better clutch hitting than almost anybody else on the team. I mean, his batting average sucked, and his overall numbers aren't anything to write home about, but his clutch hitting was something to keep your eye on. But yeah, when you're struggling and you're on a 1-year contract, you better choose your words a little wiser. You know what I mean? Like you came here as a prove it deal, and you have proved nothing at this point, especially a guy who's been as injured and inconsistent as he has. We know the ceiling of Max Kepler can be worthwhile for a left fielder, but we also see what Max Kepler can do. So, I mean, is he not another Austin Hayes in this situation? Austin Hayes, unfortunately, had a kind of bunch of run-in with some weird issues. It was like a liver injury or something like that, and allergic reaction. And he just had the really weirdest things that kept him down. But it is what it is. Real quick, because I wanted to talk about this. Phillies haven't hit in the playoffs since the series before losing to the Diamondbacks. Independent, and yeah, maybe maybe it's a bit of a mental thing, Mike, that they're in their own heads as much as they're thinking what we're saying, what people are saying, which is not good for a baseball player to have. And they get a little, they had all the confidence in 2022. They had confidence in 2023 up until those two back-to-back losses at home against the Diamondbacks, and you're not wrong. The hitting has been atrocious in the playoffs since then.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. For me, this team now they have to be the bull. They got to be the bullies now because they've gotten bullied the last 2 years in the playoffs. Okay, they got to be the bullies, and this is why I think them really kind of shoring up the bullpen will help them. Okay, because you're not going to get timely hitting, so you have to, you're going to have to get. You may have to win a game or you're 2-1, 3-1, because you don't know what type of Harper you're going to get coming back off of this injury either. You don't know what type of Harper you're going to get. You don't know what type of Aaron Nola you're going to get when he comes off the DL. So, I mean, for me, it's got to be, they got to shore up that back end. They got to shore it up. Welcome back, buddy.
Speaking of shoring up the back end, Pat's back.
Hey now,
News is saying,
yeah.
It's very good for LA. Blocked the top prospects like Ohapi. Can we swindle the Dodgers? So, can we swindle? Well, the question is swindling versus pay to play. Mike, I'll ask you, like, what are the Phillies willing to get rid of? Because everything we've talked about for the most part of the show are most players that you would be maybe or really considered moving from. Like, are you willing? Like, first part, do you think Dombrowski's going to be more Dombrowski-like and push on some players that maybe we thought were quote unquote untouchable because maybe his tenure's coming to a close here if they have the same out, in the playoffs? Maybe Tomper for all the numbers he has produced. If they go into the playoffs again, and this team is just buns, as the kids call them, in the playoffs, then it's is he out? Like what does this team? What do they have to do to make changes? And if they make more personnel changes and flop, then who else is on the trading block? Like we heard about Nick Castellanos last offseason as an option to move on from. Bryson Stott, as we mentioned, hasn't lived up. Defensively has been great, but hasn't lived up to the offense that we were hoping to get out of him. And we're waiting for guys like Justin Crawford to come up, and we don't even know what that's going to bring us. Talking about Andrew Painter, we don't even know I don't think Andrew Painter comes up. I really don't. I don't think he's coming. I really don't. Everybody's been putting their eggs in that basket, and I don't think he's coming up unless he can show some stability.
So, Al, then again, it reverses the question, right? So, if you don't think they're going to bring Painter up and all that, I mean, do you think they're going to ride out this team, this core, one more go round and see what they can do? I mean, because if technically in the NL, so far, it's been the Brewers that's given this team a rough going. I mean, other than that, I mean, no one really has beaten this team in a series. I mean, yes, teams have gotten wins against them, but no one's beaten them in a series. And this team is still able and capable what we paid for. I mean, they're one of the highest payrolls in the league.
The Pirates didn't beat us in the series, if you really want to count that.
Yeah, but well, I mean, listen, the Pirates really got the Mets number now. So, yes, are the Pirates maybe a team up and coming? Sure. But, I mean, right now, I can't see the Pirates making the postseason. I mean,
I'm kidding on that one, but
yeah.
Listen, yes, in the National League, they're not. Despite the fact that they just got swept by Houston Astros, they lost 4 out of the 5 games. I mean, I used the term the other night. I was waiting to get yelled at for it's baseball because if you take all the Phillies needed was one run to beat the Braves the night before on that late Friday night, Saturday morning game because of the weather. But if you took those 11, you took 12 of those 13 and sprinkled them throughout the Houston Astros, and even last night, you probably could have won all those games. And that's kind of a lot of people in the chat we've heard over the year and the years before this that's the Phillies' MO. It's just like all or nothing. Again, they beat up on a bad pitcher who was struggling. Jesus Luzardo had another bad outing. I'm a little nervous with that one. He just seems he's almost as inconsistent as a bat. You know, he can come in and dominate one game and not do well against another game. And he, despite his struggles, he was very Wheeler-esque in some ways. I mean, Zach Wheeler didn't have a great start the other day either. But he was able to kind of right the ship because that's what great pitchers do.
Well,
even great pitchers are going to have bad games, but when they can re-steady the ship and come out and still dominate, unfortunately, it hurts their pitch count. So no 7 or 8 innings, but ultimately, what he did yesterday, I think was kind of looked past because of the loss, but he was really able to right that ship. We could have really got to our bullpen and fast.
Yeah. Right, and that's I'm going to talk about Jose Luzardo. I mean, he hung in yesterday with the Braves, despite we all know the Braves still have a top heavy, core, and Luzardo did give up 7 hits, but he also had 7 Ks to go with it. Where the train fell off the track was when Sean Murphy hit the grand slam off of Joe Ross, and that's where everything went wrong. Again, it goes back to the bullpen, but also the offense. Facing good pitching this week hasn't been there, and despite the loss, we are only during that Houston stretch we only lost by one run differential. Friday they bounced back with the lumber, and then last night they got shell shocked. So it does ask you the question: maybe it is time. Maybe it is time to make a big splash, and you have to start with Alec Bohm. Unfortunately, I'm not in the fan club of moving on from the kid. I think there's a tremendous upside for him, but I get it. I understand what this franchise needs to do in order to get to the next step. I just hope Dave Dombrowski understands how to get to the next step.
You want to hear a funny story? Is I still have some of my connections from being in the press box at the Phillies, and one of my Houston Astro guys I kept in contact with. We had him on the show in 2022 and all that stuff. And he texts me, he goes, how are the Houston Astros winning these games? That's how even the Houston Astros and their beat reporters were scratching their heads on how they were actually winning the games.
Yeah, but to me, like I said, Al, it's, even though I joked with you earlier and put the excuse and boring them up, but it's baseball. It's baseball. It seems to go through that way. Who would have thought that the Mets would have lost, going into Pittsburgh? You thought that's easy 3 for them, you know what I mean? And yet they've been struggling with the Pirates. So if you to look at it, the Phillies just got to keep winning series. Today they got to go in. They got to win the series today. And I think they will. I mean, they're going to be. It's a tough task. I mean, they're going up against Strider today, but to me. They got Christopher Sanchez coming. I think Sanchez right now is probably one of their best pitchers for the Phillies. So
I thought it was Ranger. I thought Ranger was on Suarez. Isn't Suarez on the hill today? Yeah, I thought it was Suarez.
I
but regardless, you still got a good arm.
Mick Abel. Let's see. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, you got Ranger on the hill today. You got Ranger taking on Spencer Strider.
Oh, I don't know why.
That's the pitching matchup.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Strider against Ranger.
I wasn't sure they were going to do it. Since Mick Abel didn't get it started, they were going to push some things down, move it over. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure how they were going to handle that, but yeah. I guess they left everything alone.
All right, it's cool. So I like that. I think that's going to be a good. That should be. Is that a nationally televised game tonight too? Is that tonight or is that this afternoon?
It's a 1:30.
It's a 1:30 game.
Okay.
Listen, and I said this too, Nooms. I mean, if anything, you watched, and it kind of. I'm actually going to answer Noom's question with his comment here. People forget the Astros have a new ace, and the Astros have some really good pitching. I mean, the Astros are a good team, and it felt like a playoff series, but unfortunately, you asked the question just moments ago. Do you have confidence in the team in a close postseason game right now? I mean, I think that Astros series should answer the question. Do you guys, are you willing to put big shillings, Mike Laro, on this Phillies team to win a series?
Yes. Yes, I think they're good enough to win a series. Yes, I do. Even with them not before they make a move right now, the Phillies are still probably one of the top 5 teams in baseball. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, and if you have a top 5 team in baseball,
they're top 3 team in the NL. They're number 3 behind the Cubs, behind the Dodgers.
Which by the way, they have a winning record against the Cubbies. They're 4-2 against the Cubbies, and they're 2-1 against the Dodgers. We don't play the Dodgers until September.
Well,
so they have winning records against the 2 teams above them.
That's what I'm saying. Like again, I get it. I get all the No, I get everyone's concerns, right? They in everyone's eyes, we're the worst team in baseball. In everyone's eyes, Topper needs to be let go tomorrow. But again, Topper's not a bad manager. Everyone thinks he's the worst thing since me. But no, he's not a bad, manager. Again, he put Alec Bowman in the 8th hole to get his head on right. Now he's on back, top of the lineup. He figured out who wants to lead off this team, whether it was going to be Stott or Turner. Turner's your guy. He put Schwarber. Now Schwarber's now batting in the 2-hole. Again, he's putting out the best lineup. It's just the talent alone is just not performing, and I don't get it where everything is this guy's fault. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Can you guys help me out?
Listen, I'll tell you right now. If It's a Wrap Sports starts sucking and people are complaining, you're going to blame the man in charge. You're going to blame the man in charge. It's going to be Matty B's fault. You know what I mean? Like but I make the joke, but that's true. Like if let's take a Karen, for instance. Who does Karen always want to talk to? The manager, right? She always wants to talk to the manager. Why? Because you're the one who puts people in place. You're the one who has the power. You're the one, like, it's always going to fall back on him.
Barb.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, it's, if you're having success or you're having failures, you're the manager. People, I think Mike's one of them. Mike Papernick, for instance, is not a big Tomper fan. And that's fine. I get it. Like, I get the thought process about Tomper, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if you're going to give him grief when things are bad, but when things are good, are you going to give him his flowers? I don't think Tomper is as bad as a manager as people put out there. But the question is, Pat, does Tomper help this team win a series, win a World Series? And that's the ultimate question. And you can't answer that. Silence.
For what the tools he puts the best players in place, but ultimately, what's going to hurt this team? It's going to backfire on Dombrowski. Is the bullpen, and like yesterday, I will say yesterday's loss is somewhat in on Topper if I'm going to think about it, because the way he put out the bullpen. But again, like, we all know the bullpen is a debacle. We all know that. So, and to answer Steve's question about can this team win close, if it's a close game, just say, example, if it's Brewers and Phillies in a close game, if it's a 1-1 game, bottom of the 8th, 9th, can this team battle it out with this bullpen? Probably not, because Romano, Walker, someone's going to bound to screw it up.
No, listen.
Come on, man.
Oh, hold on. He's not wrong. I hate saying this.
Where am I wrong at, Matt?
With the constructed bullpen, who do you have confidence in right now? Orion Kirkering, who has been more on lately than he has been. I'm trying to think who else. Matt Strom has not been we've known.
Other than last night, Other than last night, I'd go Romano still. I think Romano is, he's been up and down, but for the most part, I mean, he started out real cold.
I
He
don't
started
have
out
faith.
real.
Sorry, I can't.
No,
No, I think he was a guy that had a lot of a lot of possibility of being a good player, and we saw that, especially when they were able to correct his pitch tipping issues or whatever it was he was doing. But I think he does. Closers have to have a mentality, right? Closer mentality. We've talked about this 1,000 times. You have to be strong-willed. You have to be able to erase any problems in the back of your head. You have to be able to come in a 1-0 game with the game on the line to win a game, win a series, win a playoff series, win the World Series. Do you think that if it's a 1-0 game, Game 7 World Series, Jordan Romano's in there, do you guys, in your heart of hearts, believe that he's not going to go in there sweating bullets and able to handle that pressure?
no, he can't handle it. Well, then, it goes back on and I'm going to say no. So then it's going to. This is where the Phillies went wrong because they should never let Jeff Hoffman walk then because he was a solidified bullpen.
Really?
He was solidified in the bullpen.
Have you seen his ERA with Toronto?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter with Toronto.
He's pitching batting practice, dude. He's getting crushed. No. I mean, listen, everybody. I mean, I'm sorry, did you not watch Jeff Hoffman in the postseason last year? He wasn't lights out. He wasn't lights out. My man was giving up bombs last year. No, man. Listen, I understand, and I agree with you guys with the frustration with the bullpen. But I mean, to be honest with you, I think Kirkering should be the closer. I think that kid's got closer stuff. Now, Steve brings up a point. He's got a deer in headlights, but you also got to remember too, the kid really went from single A ball to the majors in one season. Now he's been up here a little bit. I think he's starting to come around. I think he's starting to feel more comfortable. That to me, right there, he's going to be your. You're going to have to be, he's going to have to, try to figure it out. I mean, the Phillies kind of did this to themselves with this bullpen. They really didn't help themselves. Now they got to go out and trade. So it is what it is.
I mean, listen, right now in the bullpen, guys who are serviceable or better, right? Mm-hmm. Tanner Banks, Orion Kirkering, I guess Jordan Romano can fall into serviceable, but he's borderline with me right now. He's not a ninth guy. He's not a ninth inning guy. He might be a good.
He's mediocre.
Yeah. Matt Strom has the ability, and that's it. I mean, Taijuan Walker's good to eat up innings when you need him to, like we saw him do on the other night. Well, actually, he didn't eat many innings. He only ate 2 innings up. But that's it. Like I mean. That's my point, because a lot of questions have been had, like, since the Phillies, if everything works out and Aaron Nola is healthy enough to come back, and they have the 5 rotation, do you move Ranger into the bullpen to bolster the bullpen? But the other question is, do you trade Ranger? Because his value is going to be at its highest. He's not going to be back next year, but the way he's pitching, it's almost like you can't ask of that. You can't trade him away at this point. Even like I said, it would have to be the old King's ransom. And yes, Ryan, It is those guys again.
Yeah, your favorite Sunday morning program there, Ryan.
Yes, your favorite Sunday morning program. Yes, that's if you're eating your Cheerios when you said program at the same time.
It's going to be interesting to see what Dombrowski does at the trade deadline. I'm interested to see if, a lot of people were, they were linking Cedric Mullins to the Phillies. I know Matty B doesn't want him. I would take Cedric Mullins in a heartbeat. If you're not going to bring up Crawford, it's either one of two things. Either he comes up to the show or they're trading him, one or the other. And that's the only thing I can think of. And Dombrowski has been known to trade away talent to try to win a World Series. That's what he's known for. He was known for that in Boston. He was known for that in Detroit.
If the Phillies trade Crawford, first part of this this fan base, no matter what, is going to explode. Um, but it better be the term I've used quite a few times on this show in a king's ransom. It better be, because all we've heard about is he's the next big thing for the Phillies. He's a great center fielder. If they better not bring an aged guy in here. I mean, like, he better not be in his 30s or above type situation, like 27-ish.
Well, that's
20
Cedric Mullins. That's
Yeah,
Cedric
I know.
Mullins.
But my point is, he better be able to play well. Like he better be able to hit and defensively play well. Like it's not gonna. It's gonna. This place will fall apart if that happens.
Yeah, well, listen, like I said, we're going to have to see what these, what the Phillies do at the trade deadline. Like I said, it's a month away. Hopefully, like Mike said, they could get back on the winning track today. I mean, listen, they got slapped in the mouth last night. They just got to take the series, win, and I'm hoping they can come in back home against the Padres with a winning attitude. But Mike, we got to talk about the other winner teams, because it's been draft weekend with the NHL and the NBA. I'm not so happy with these moves, but I'm going to let you decipher. Are you happy with the Flyers have done so far this past week, moving on from Ryan Poehling, bringing Trevor Zegras and Zegras, and have you been happy with their drafting?
Yeah, I am. I am so happy with their drafting, believe it or not. The only one I thought they kind of reached on was the Jack Nesbitt. I didn't think they had to give up both of their first round picks to move up to get him. I think they could have stayed where they were and got them. So, but yeah, I like everything overall. Carter Amico, I thought that was I liked that. Granted, they got him with the 38th overall, but excuse me. He's a big boy. He's a big defenseman. So, 6'6", 235 pounds. That's the kind of guy that you need to, laying some people out, man. So I kind of like that. They also got another forward in Jack Murtaugh late yesterday. I loved all their late round picks. I really did. Shane Vegas, was it Van Seggy? I liked reading up about him. The only one I had a question with, to be honest with you, was the left winger that they got, Max Westergaard. I was kind of like, I felt like they could have got somebody. I felt like he was kind of a reach, I guess, but they do get two really big defensemen in this draft, which I like, Pat. You were screaming about defensemen the other night. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think you don't take a defenseman sixth. Porter Marone that was there. That kid was a top 3 pick. Why he slid back, I don't know. But go ahead.
No, because I get you. Listen, they stocked up on wingers and centers with their first 2 picks, right? Porter Marone from the Steelheads last year, he put up 37 goals, 61 assists, 98 points, playmaker. A great pairing to put him up there with Mitchkov, the Travis Konecny's. That part, okay. But to me, I just felt like the position of need was more important for this team. For this team to move forward, I think the position in need. That's why I was screaming about defensemen. Like when I look at Buffalo grabbing random, I don't want to butcher his name, but they grabbed a 6'6" defenseman. Like they haven't replaced the Sean Walkers of the world. Like their defense at depth is weak. The Travis Sanheins, the Ristolainen, the Ryan Elses, who we haven't seen, the Zumulas. I'm okay with the Nick Sealers. I'm okay with the Cam Yorks, the Jimmy Drysdales. But we need more depth back there. And I just thought this was the time to strike fire now. This is the time to strike when it's hot. Yes, like I said, Porter Marone, if you want to go, like I said, just gave you his numbers, 37 goals, 61 assists, 98 points with the Steelheads last year, fine. But when they made the trade with Pittsburgh, I thought immediately Danny and Keith Jones were going to grab a defenseman right there. But like you said, they go out of a limb and grab Jack Nisbet again.
The
25
Jack
goals. They're
Nesbitt,
not.
I think the Jack Nesbitt pick it's kind of it's quite sneaky from the Flyers having a lot of acquisition properties that they could give away to move up, because you got a 6'5" guy who can score. You know, he's not just a big body on the ice. He's not just taking up space on the ice or goon, as we would have called him in the past. But
like a Papineau.
Yeah, traded with the Penguins, and they had 64 points last year. I mean, granted, it was with the Windsor Spitfires, but still, I mean, the guy's big. He's got 25 goals, 39 assists in 64 games. So, you know, that's a point a game this guy's getting. So I like him. But he is kind of a penalty guy, so he's got to work a little bit of the discipline.
Yeah, but Al, the problem is though, like you're stocked with the Owen Tippett's, the Noah Cates. You're stocked already. The Tyson Forsters with wingers and centers. That problem I had was I was screaming for defensemen early because that's a problem I need. Because again, you're going to be running it back with Sam Harrison that has nothing in front of him, and he's a suspect himself. So again, we can light the lamp as much as we want. You better hope you have like 12 goals a game, because that back part is going to hurt you.
They got some defensemen. They can trade for more defensemen. They picked up 2 in the draft. Listen, I get what you're saying, but this team has been lacking scoring goals. There's no electricity on that ice. I mean, that's been one of their biggest problems. That's why they kind of fell short a couple of years ago making the playoffs, because they got, you know, kind of like the Phillies did. They went cold. You know what I mean? They couldn't score a goal. And then last year we saw the same idea. Like the electricity was gone, and they had nothing to show for it. They need guys who are going to keep the other team on their toes on the ice, and that's what they're looking to do. And I don't disagree with the thought process.
No, I definitely disagree.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I am jumping in here. You just
get in.
You made me damn near I gotta add something to my coffee here, because with you jumping over this damn defenseman, they've needed centers, man. They need centers. They need guys that can take faceoffs, win faceoffs. That's what they need. And you're worried about a defenseman. Guess what? I like the 2 defensemen they went out and drafted. And you know
what? You're not going to see them for like another 2-3 years. I want to win now. I don't have patience. I don't have time. You know,
you're drunk if you don't think in the next couple of years that's when the Flyers are really maybe they make the playoffs next year. They're going to make the playoffs next year, but to think that they're going to come out and win the cup this year, the only cup that I see is in Mike's hand right now.
Well, never mind. But no, it's. I don't understand you guys. I mean, they better make the playoffs. Danny Barrera, I think he's a fraud and a phony if he doesn't make a move this summer.
Listen, everybody got super excited about the Zegras thing. The one thing that they're showing is we have the currency, the hockey currency, and I'm talking in players, draft picks, things along those lines. They have the currency to bring other players in. I mean, Zegras. I mean, look at. Noom's not a huge fan of him. I believe he called him a cock.
Thank you.
I don't know how he looks like a chicken, but we'll go with that. But I mean, so listen, am I banking on the other 2 defensive players that they brought into the draft to be this big difference today or tomorrow? No. But what I'm saying is they can still bring in guys to play on this team and trade away some of the guys you already complained about.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this Carter Amico kid, 6'6", 235, Pat.
Yeah.
6'6", 235, and he's not slow. I mean, come on. I mean,
yes.
Come on.
Well, it sounds like look. He sounds like a good 2-way player. I'm happy. He sounds like a good 2-way player. But yeah, Mike.
To me, I just feel like between him and Volowski, I think they're going to be okay. They're going to be able to go ahead and do what they got to do. And I'm sorry, like Mike's made right here. He's like, Flyers haven't made the playoffs since 2020. How much longer do we have to wait? What do you mean? I mean, you got a team out and see how long.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
takes
listen,
back.
I agree with Mike. I listen. I don't want to wait another day. If I had my druthers, yes, I would love to see the Flyers make a cup run this season. Oh God, playoff hockey in Philly
It's awesome.
is
It's
one of the
awesome.
most amazing things. But I'm also a realist. Okay, so right now, like Mike Laro said, they had a gut team. Like you had nothing to work with, nothing at all. Is Danny Briere and Keith Jones and them making the right moves? Time will be the tell of that one. Like we won't. We could sit here and talk about Zegras being a cock all you want, guys being later in their career and be able to keep up with trying to get the most out of them before the end of their career comes along. The Flyers had to make themselves enticing to come to, right? I mean, nobody wanted to come here. All the great young talent, the Mitch Kovs of the world would mean nothing unless this team makes themselves enticing to come here. And that's now I feel like that's the stage they're in now. The enticing stage. We got Mitch Kov up here. We have a nice young core, but we still got a lot of pieces to fill in. But we're gonna have the money now because that was the other problem. They are paying for the sins of the father. What I mean by that is all the stuff that happened before them, the Brizgalov situations. Still paying guys like him money. Going against the cap in hockey. That doesn't help. Now that stuff's starting to come off the books. You know what I mean? So now they're going to have money to spend. They have draft capital to deal, and they're going to have players who are decent that other teams may want to deal. So this is where they start building from the outside as well as the inside. That's how I look at it.
Well, that's the problem with this team, gentlemen. They're building from the outside in. They need to build.
Whoa, you were about to call it something else there.
Yeah, I found another word that was coming out. I believe the term is fat assholes.
No, but listen, I mean, they're building. That's the problem with the Flyers. That's the problem with the 76ers. They're building from the outside in instead of the inside out, which you need to start. The Flyers need to build from defense on out. Then you build with your wingers and stuff. They already have boatloads of wingers and centers. The 76ers need a backup center, a decent backup center. They should have went. Instead, they go with this VJ Edgecombe, who looks like an explosive playmaker on offense who makes some moves on defense. But no, you need a center because when Joel Embiid only gives you 3 games this year instead of 15, you're going to need something to replace that. And they brought in this Janine Broom, who's not going to make that much of an impact, not to me anyway. Again, both the winter teams are in shambles right now. In shambles.
Shambles. I never heard of shambles, but I will say this: Ryan Ellis's deal, I think that comes off. I think that's off the books finally. That was a bad thing, with them. I'm glad that that's finally coming off the books. But I'm going to talk about this with Mike. Me and Pat didn't kill the Sixers during the process, because we knew what they were trying to do. What we killed the Sixers for is what they did after the process, and that's what I killed them for. I've been standing on the trade Joel Embiid thing for the last 3 years. They should have traded him after his MVP season and let him go try to win a chip somewhere else because right now, again, this Sixers team, they're in shambles. But getting back to the Flyers, Pat, I understand you want defense. The Flyers do have some young defensemen that are playing down, that are working their way up right now. But this team right now, they need centermen. And I like the fact I love what they did. And a lot of people are very warm on Porter Marone. I'm not. Okay. When you're sitting there, they're talking about the Flyers basically got the steal of the first round. That's a player that's going to come in and contribute. And he's a big winger, man. He's a big wing who can play center. He can play center. Okay. So not to say that the Flyers are going to put him there, but he can play there. So again, people are looking at this going, well, they got to do this, they got to do that. Literally, the Flyers had a team with too many veteran contracts that they had to remove, and they had to draft and get younger, and they had to move pieces to get more acquisitions. Okay, as far as draft capital and stuff like that. They literally had to gut the team that Ron Hextall tried to put together. And the bad contracts that were in there between him, the other knucklehead we had here for Fletcher, that dude, so they had to go in and literally do that. You got to give these guys time to do so. And I think Danny and them are doing. I think that first year when they took over and the team almost made the playoffs and they had a really good they kind of faded at the end of the year. That kind of brought a lot of people, oh, well, maybe they're not that far away. Well, this year was kind of a reality check that they were that far away, finishing up last in their division. So,
and I'm also going to respond to Kaepernick's comments here and about the Sixers getting throttled, but the Flyers getting a pass. There's a bit of a difference here, and the big difference is the regime changed, but they also had a shitty bed to lie in. So now they got to clean out the shitty bed. You know what I mean? Like, take for instance, after this year, there's about $7 million almost coming off the cap that of guys who aren't even playing for us. Cam Atkinson, Kevin Hayes, and Scott Lawton. That's about, I don't know. I think it works out to be about 7% of the total cap for the Flyers right now this year. But you also have guys like if Ivan Fotov, however you say his name, doesn't come off the cap. He's $3 million. He makes $3 million. He makes double of what Sam Urson makes. There is a lot of contracts who are coming off. Some of them, like they're not great, but like some of the big names that the Sean Couturier's, the Travis Konechny's, and the Owen Tippett's. Those ones are the ones your longer tenure ones. But after that, there's not many more left outside of Noah Cates. And that's about it. Everybody else has small contracts or coming off in the next year or two. So the money is going to be there for them to. Don't forget Sam Hine. They got him through 29-30. But everybody else it's Jamie Drysdale. He's coming up on his last year. He's a restricted free agent next year. Zamula, he's a restricted free agent after this year. There is there's a lot of movement ability now. The Flyers had to dig themselves out of the basement, and now they're starting to see some light. It's like they're peeking their heads through here. The Sixers made a mockery of it and then paid for it. That's the difference. And they had the worst guys in charge to make the decisions, and they continue to make bad decisions. The Flyers have had the organization has been a decent one for the most part. They've made some big changes to make it better. The Sixers, they're just moving backwards. That's your difference. That's why I think there's the difference between your Flyers and your Sixers.
Well, again, like I love both squads, right? Obviously, we talk about them, we love them. And Mike, you're right? They got, like I said, to me, I love the moves. I'm not going to tell you I don't like the moves of the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, bring in Porter Marone, great pick, 37 goals, 61 assists, 98 points. You pair him up with Travis Konechny, you pair him up with Michkov. That sounds like it's going to, and Owen Tippett, sounds like it's going to be a dynamite line. However, when you moved up to 12 and traded with the Pittsburgh Penguins and, give them the 22 and 31th pick, I thought right then and there they could have grabbed Jackson Smith, a defenseman, and then you could have bounced it out. But instead, they went with Jack Nisbet, again, who's going to be another piece, maybe into the fourth line or something like that coming up. I just thought you could have balanced it and bring a plug and play defenseman now, and then it would have gave you some kind of hope because we would again with no depth and building from outside in, building inside out. It's really going to hurt this hockey team. Same thing with the 76ers. I thought they should have went with another big right off the bat. Instead, they went with a guard with this VJ Edgecombe, who looks like he's going to be a playmaker with a little inside-out game. But again, you need a big in there. You need something. We all know Joel Embiid, and I'm with you guys, is not going to be there. He's not going to be there for 3/4 of the season. We already know that. Heck, at 4 quarters. But we need something big in the middle of that floor. Without that, and with no wing defensemen or no wing defenders, both Flyers and 76ers, to me, are going to be hurting.
I mean, Pat. I mean, it's August. I mean, or I'm sorry, it's not even. It's not even July yet. It's not even July yet, and you're already throwing our winter teams under the bus. I like the move that the Sixers made. I like the move for the kid. This kid wanted to be here. Okay. I'd rather have him here than an immature 18-year-old that is listening to a guy from his corner bar telling him who he should go with. So to me, I like what he did. I like what the Sixers did. As far as the Flyers go, I thought they had a very excellent draft. They went after what they needed. They needed centermen and they needed some defense, and that's what they did.
And also, I think they took that guy later in the first round because they know he could be more of a plug and play than any defenseman that was probably available at that time.
Exactly. And listen, for the Flyers to move up, to go get him, I mean, I thought initially that they could have got him at 22, but after hearing the reports, there was teams trying to move up there was a team that was down the bottom trying to move up like 15 spots to go get Nesbitt. So what the Flyers did was they were proactive on it. And again, it's just capital. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know it's with the Penguins, but I think the Penguins are going to be real stacked. I don't know if you saw the reports on that about Sidney Crosby might be getting traded to Colorado. So can you imagine that deal?
I saw that. Listen, he's at the tail end of his. He's at the tail end of his career. I mean, look, he might be going out chasing a cup. I don't see. I think he's going to
is definitely
forever be a Penguin.
And it's probably best for him and Colorado. I mean, they don't need him to come in
and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, they don't need him to come in and lead the team. They just need something to help put him over the top. And even at his advanced age, I mean, Sid, not so much the kid anymore. It would help a team like Colorado put him over the top a little bit. So
I think
it's a win-win for everybody, depending on what you have to give up on him.
Here's a question. Here's a little quick question for you. If Pittsburgh goes into a rebuild, right? If they go into a rebuild, do you make an offer for Malkin and bring him in to pair him up with to bring him in to team up with the kid? Do you do that?
I wouldn't be against it.
I wouldn't be against it.
No, I mean, I would kick the tires on it, but like again, one of these, it's like the Florida Panthers set the trend already because what did they need it? Marchand got that team over the hump. They certified it. You know what I mean? Yeah, Marchand's at the tail end of his career. He rode the sunset. He got himself a cup. Same thing with that's what Colorado's looking at with Crosby. Bring him in, get him over the cup.
Real quick, I want to kind of blow through some of these comments because I know we're kind of getting to the tail end of things here.
What are we doing now?
Relax, Pat. Mike Papernick, one question is a big question. Is Flyers goalie? I mean, right now it's Sam Ersson.
Carter Hart. Carter Hart will be a Flyer. Carter Hart will be a Flyer.
Oh, I don't know, man.
He will be a Flyer once again. If he's cleared of all these charges, he will be a Flyer again.
I think it depends on how he's cleared. If they say he's not guilty versus, there's not enough evidence or something. I don't know. I don't know if
they've been keeping in contact with him. They've been keeping in contact with Carter Hart.
Well, of course they're going to keep in contact with him, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they go down that avenue.
Right now it's Fedotov and Ersson. Fedotov is 28 too, so he's no youngster. So they got to see if they have something in him or not. So yeah, Mike, that's a great question, and I feel like always will be a Flyers question since I don't know Pelly. I don't know. But Morey can't find talent, but Morey is not good at finding talent that can play together. That is a good
point
as well. Ryan Swope, Flyers for too long have brought in vets. Have they also brought in players like Hayes and other positions that would block and hinder development? Now they are looking to build within. They will add guys at positions that lack in free agency and trades, not positions they have players at. So I'm guessing Ryan's agreeing with us a little bit in the sense that they're making the moves now. They're cleaning up the mess. Yeah, because the Kevin Hayeses of the world were not their mess. That was before them. You know what I mean? Like they made they made a lot of bad moves, the Flyers, over the last 10 years, right? And you got this job, and you're like, oh, this is great. I get to be the GM. I get to be the operations guy, but man, is this place a mess. We got a lot of things to do here. So I mean, it sounds like he's agreeing with it. Sixers throughout the process would load up on big men and forwards, not balance it out with guards too. Now they're focused on loading up on guards. It's one or the other. No balance in between the bigs, forwards, and guards. Here's the other thing, Ryan. I feel like this year, at least this year, the NBA Finals proved to us that the NBA is changing, also, and that's why I'm not high on just bringing in savvy vets. I mean, I think the Sixers they're a broken record, Ryan. I mean, an absolute broken record. They play the same part over and over and over again, and it doesn't change. And on top of it all, they just have a really poor organization.
Well, and to me, like, again, look at the difference in franchises, right? OKC, when they moved on from Russell, what's his name? Russell
Westbrook.
And Westbrook. They moved on from Westbrook. They moved on from Harden. They completely went through a rebuild process for the last 10 years, and look how fast they changed. And like you just said, Al, the NBA's changed. They brought in a bunch of young cats that are hungry and wanted a championship. And look where they're at now. They're sitting top of the NBA world. Here, we're still going through a process. We're still running off all the names.
Pat, hold on. I got to stop you. You just said they went through a 10-year rebuild. Okay, that's a decade. That's a decade of them being bad.
Who, the OKC?
Yes.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, they moved on from
years.
Yeah, but the point I'm making, Mike, is that they moved on from Durant, they moved on from Russell Westbrook, they moved on from Harden, they went through a rebuild, and now with the NBA, they've scouted all the young upcoming cats. Now they're still on top of the NBA world. We're still haven't learned from the process. We trying to go through the process. We understood it. The players that they want to go get, like you said, some of it was immaturity, some of it was just no one wants to play here with Embiid. So again, the ball didn't bounce their way. No pun intended. But again, hell, they rebuild it faster than we did, and we have no answers. We're running off old names. We're running off of still trying to build this thing around Joel Embiid, like he's going to find the fountain of youth and fix that knee and all those other things. Like, it's just crazy to me how OKC went about their business. It's not about the big flashy names. It's about getting guys who are young and want to grind out.
Well, I think they still have a big flashy name. Don't forget. I mean, they have a big household guys becoming a household name in the NBA, and SGA. Doesn't mean to rhyme there. I was trying not to, but I guess it didn't work out. But my point is, I think both teams showed you that it's becoming a young man's game. All the LeBron guys, all the guys, the PGs of the world, the Embiids of the world, the James Hardens of the world, all these guys, it's blowing by them because they can't keep up and they keep trying to adjust and giving them load management, whatever other term you want to use, and it's not panning out anymore for them.
Right. I mean, look at the Lakers, plan, right? They brought in Luka and they were a one and done. OKC didn't need that. OKC didn't need the big flashy name. They just ran with the young core. And now they're still on top of the NBA world. They didn't need the big flashy name, the old names. They're good. Now, I'm not saying Luka is an old name, but I'm just saying, he's probably the biggest name in the NBA. But again, they didn't need a big flashy name. They ran with their young gun. So
Nooms is saying the biggest con and job in Philly sports press is how great the Flyers farm system was. Like last year was, or like 5 years or 10 years? Like, how are we talking? Mike's in there. I'm with Pat. Wow, that's not something we hear often. It's going to be years before the Flyers make the playoffs, but the Flyers management gets a pass. Well, listen,
Flyers management. This is why Papernick's one of my favorite listeners.
Well, listen, I love Mike, but Flyers managers get a pass because they've only been there for 3 years now. It's been 3 years, and they've been cleaning up a mess, and they've been making good strides, considering the fact they had nothing to work with. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to work with. So yeah, they're going to get a little bit more of a pass, but it ain't going to last much longer. Nobody's giving the Sixers a pass because they destroyed it. You can't convince me, even with Joel Embiid and PG and all the Yabasellis of the world, that they're gonna make a big difference, because they're not. Because all I'm hearing is, this is what I'm hearing now. This is what's making me sick about the NBA talk right now. The East is wide open. This term has nauseated me, because the Celtics now are getting rid of some pieces, and they're not going to have Tatum around next season. Who else? The Pacers. You saw their big injury that happened right at the worst time possible.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to be happening with the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks and all this stuff. The NBA, the East is wide open. The fact that we have to say that and just hope that this team stays hot enough to go, it nauseates me. That's why they're not getting a pass anymore. Noom is saying Sam Hinkie was not cut out to interact with the rest of the NBA personnel. He pissed off a lot of people behind the scenes. Yeah, because he was in some ways. I know I'm gonna get a little grief on this one. In some ways, he was like, he was kind of like Howie Roseman. He was making some trades, boggling some minds. He was stockpiling draft picks, and people were getting mad at him because he was getting one and over on them. That's the only way he's like Howie Roseman in my eyes. But I can see what you're talking about. All right, here you go. Al, but once the Flyers can sign free agents, they need to be smart. Don't feel forced just to sign guys because they're ones available if they're really not fit. If the type of guy isn't available that needs to be forced, they don't need to force it. Wait it out. Oh, and don't sign guys who in positions that have guys coming up. And Ryan, I'm agreeing with you. That's what they're doing. Like, if you're looking at the stage process, okay, we got to start stockpiling young players. And Mitch Cobb was a big piece in the right direction of that. And they were able to bring him up a year and a half versus 3 years. Or 1 year then versus their 3 years. And they don't need to go out, and that was what I meant by the more enticing, Ryan. Being more enticing now. They have guys like Mitch Cobb. They have young guys who can really produce. Not enough, but a handful of young guys who are really core to this team, that's going to make guys, savvy vets who are either looking to make a cup run or have a few years left in their career, want to come to Philly. That's what they're doing right now, and that's kind of what you're talking about. Anything else you want to say, Mike? I feel like I talked over you on that one.
No. I just thought Noob's kind of comment down the bottom there. Happy.
Hold on, I'll get to it.
You're gonna see Ryan say no, Mike Lauro. I already know what that's for. That's for yeah.
Oh yeah, hold on.
I get that.
Yeah, he's saying no for bringing Malkin in. I didn't do it hard.
Was he saying no for Malkin or Carter Hart?
Malkin. I think it was Malkin, because he put it up right as we were talking about that.
Okay. Here you go. Michael Ari, yes, OKC went through a process, but they built it correctly. Early is the now they are winning all. So here's the thing is, I think it's not just they were in a process. I think they understood where the NBA was trending to versus the Sixers, who were just trying to stockpile good players, mash them together, and hope they would, with no. I don't think they did any research. On personalities or anything like that. Would these guys fit? Would they be the right piece for them? And it shows.
I'm with you, Al. I think OKC what did OKC are doing what they did 10 years ago. They're bringing up, at the time, KD, James Harden, Russell Westbrook were the upcoming superstars of the NBA. OKC moved on from all three of those guys, their big three. It took them a decade to find their next upcoming big three, which they just did. And still, you couldn't point out one guy on their team now, but yet they are going to be the team to beat in the NBA. Why? Art Morley here is run with the old regime of stockpiling old names, the Kyle Lowrys, the Eric Gordons, the Paul Georges, still hang around this Joe Embiid like it's going to work, and it's not. It's not going to fit. It doesn't. Like you said, they just they just mashed up all these old names and try to build a what they still believe is a championship team, and it's not. Wake up and smell a coffee, 76ers. Look at the Indians of the world. Look at Cleveland's of the world. Look at the Knicks of the world. They're all young, talented guys, upcoming superstars. The Jalen Brunsons of the world, all upcoming kids. And we are still langering and leashing on to the old names and the old regime guys. It's not going to fit anymore. And look at the Lakers. They just tried it. Bringing in Luka, thought that was going to solve all their problems, teaming up Luka and LeBron. And they're a one and done. It's not the way to go anymore. Going about it is by bringing up upcoming superstars or making your upcoming superstars through your farm system, through scouting, and start to do draft picks. It works.
Yeah.
And buying old names, it's not going to work.
Listen, I'm going to say to Mike Papernick the same thing I just said earlier. The Flyers' last playoff was 2020. The Sixers are 2024, but the Flyers are moving forward. Yeah, that's the sad fact. Let's talk about Flyers last were in Sixers were last 2024, but have they moved forward since their last 3 playoffs before that? So they've been teases, right? That's all they've been doing is teasing you, but they keep falling off. And listen, I fell for it too, Mike Papernick. I fell for it. I had a first time coming since we brought back this show. What was the first thing I said? Hey, Mike Laro, you were right. You were right about Joel Embiid. You were right. We should have traded him when we had the chance. You were right. I said it 1,000 times. And I'm going to say it again. But the Sixers,
I did. I said to Mike. The
Sixers.
I said, Mike, you were right.
The Sixers were fool's gold. That's all. At least the Flyers are real. What you're seeing with the Flyers is real. Like they're really trying to make small but good steps to move forward. They are cleaning up a bigger mess. The Sixers were able to build and stockpile all this stuff, but they didn't know what to do with it. It would be like I'm trying to get the best scenario here. Like it's like they have like this warehouse, just full of gold, but they don't know what to do with this gold. They don't know how to sell it, how to get rid of it, how to use it. And all they did was stockpile, and then they just started buying frivolously and not doing the research to make sure, do these guys work well together? What are their health like? What's going to look like? And then look at this team. They just signed Embiid to a contract extension, and it took them 7 doctors to sign off on the goddamn thing. I mean, come on. It's a big difference there. It's a big, big, big difference.
All right, fellas. Well, let's get ready to take this home because we've been on now an hour and 20, and I know we all got things to do today. So, question of the day, Patrick. What are you going,
Mike?
Where are you going with today, buddy?
I'm gonna do the home foreman's gonna do a pasta set, but she's gonna mix in Mexican corn sauce. So that's gonna be something new. I can't wait to try. I can't wait.
It's literally in the name. It's pasta salad. It's pasta. But you can't. Pat Bernard, in how many episodes have we done this? Have you not said pasta or some sort of pasta-like meal? I would say about 3% or less have not been pasta or pasta-related meals.
Oh, that's
great. You know what? I will say, Al, to join in on this. Our guest last week, Pudgy Mike from New York, he's a big fan of the Sunday pastas as well. So I'm glad that we had guys joining. Yes, I know. This is why Sunday Ryan. Yes, thank you, Ryan. Man, I'm getting some kind of. I'm getting some listener love. I love it.
All these guys were up drinking late last night. But my point is, I'm an Italian, and I used to have Sunday dinners all the time. But even then, we'd be like, all right, well, let's change it up a little bit. Maybe we're going to barbecue. Maybe we're going to do this. Maybe we're going to do that. Pat, I swear to God, it's you can change it up occasionally.
Yeah. I mean,
we do change up. I have chicken parm from time to time.
Pasta adjacent.
Yeah,
What do you have?
still,
What do you
still-
have with your chicken parm? What is on the side of your chicken parm?
Pasta. So, but
Pasta shape. Pasta.
bonjour. Uh, but I don't know, man. I don't know what the home foreman here is going to do for dinner tonight. So I don't know what I'm having yet, but we'll probably figure it out. I'd just like to hear what you guys are going to have. Maybe it might spark an idea.
Well, I finally, between the last couple of weeks, as you guys know, I wasn't here last Sunday because and Friday. Thank again, Mike. By the way, I said it on the other night, and I'm going to say it again for filling in for me last Friday. I was one of those unlucky few that had no power from Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening until Monday morning, and I had to live over at my parents' house with my father-in-law, my kids, my wife, who didn't have internet, so I couldn't even try to do it from a laptop or anything from there. So I thank you for that. But I finally, after all this time, have been able to clean up the Outback, set up everything out there. So I have a whole sectional setup out there. So, and also got to dust off the new smoker. Yeah, you heard that, Pat. I'm going to say his favorite words that you like to say. I'm going to be smoking some meat.
Beautiful, beautiful.
All right. Yeah. So again, we got. Yes. Al. There's nothing wrong with eat. Yes. Yeah. There you go, Ryan.
I eat pasta probably more than Pat does. I just love saying it because he does not. If we go back and watch the end of every show that we ever did together, I have to say 97% of the time it has to be pasta.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We go into a barbecue over at a friend's house. Like I don't think he's like anything else.
No. But listen, we got the Phillies and Phillies and Braves today. Hopefully the Phillies can win in here today. Then later on tonight, for you Union fans, we got Union and the Columbus Crew. Again, the Union's sitting top of the world of the MLS. Hopefully they can keep things going and keep things rocking and rolling. So that should be a good matchup as well. I'm starting to see Al Safir here getting some Union gear. So he's asked me and Steve to bring him to a match. So we're going to have to do that as well.
What is a chopped cheese sandwich, by the way?
It's a cheesesteak version. It's New York's version of a cheesesteak, but they don't use ribeye. They use ground beef. So it's a cheeseburger. It's a chopped up. Yeah, it's a chopped up cheeseburger. Is what it is.
What's it? A Panera brother?
What were they trying to compete and not be a cheesesteak, but have something different?
No, it's a New York thing, man. They do it in New York City. It's been around probably just as long as a cheesesteak. They just call it a chopped cheese. That's all. That's what they call it. It's not bad. It's not bad, dude. It's really not.
Absolutely.
It's basically a cheeseburger, but they put it on like Texas toast, and it's not bad.
So it's literally a crumbled cheeseburger on garlic bread.
Yes. It's really good. It's really good. It's not bad.
Okay. No, I'm not saying it is. I just never heard.
All right, guys.
Guys, don't forget too, guys.
So guys, again,
Fighting's final today, right? Matty B will have you covered, and then later on tonight,
I'm sure it's gonna be all positivity and rainbows.
Positivity, yeah. So, and don't forget the final word with Matty B tonight here, 10 o'clock. Make sure you guys tune in for that, man. So, make sure you tune in for that. And guys, we ready to get out of here? Oh, the attacking third every Thursday. Make sure you tune in. That's Pat and Steve Fuentes. Pat every Friday night.
Steve Fuentes.
Oh yeah, Fuentes. You're right. And then the wraparound with Pat Bernard every Friday night, 10:30. So make sure you guys tune into that.
Don't ever miss the reach around with Pat Bernard.
Yes, the reach around.
And then big series for the Phillies coming up against San Diego this week. So you got Pat, Steve, and Mike Laro for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for that series. So that'll be a good one. Let's hope it continues. Hold on 1 second. I have to put this up here. Ground breaking chopped ground beef, maybe chopped up cheese melted through in a lettuce, tomato, mayo. Wow, interesting. It's the opposite of sloppy joes. All right. Called a sloppy Pat. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining us. He's Pat Bernard. Why? I don't know. But he's Mike Laro, and I'm Big Al. We will see you guys all next time.